Welcome to the Bible Stories with Gian channel. Iran. A nation steeped in history, mystery, and biblical prophecy. While many know it today for its political influence and rich culture, its role in the Bible is both profound and often overlooked. In this video, we will uncover the truth about Iran, known as Persia in biblical times, and how this ancient nation plays a pivotal role in God's divine plan for humanity. From Noah's descendants to King Cyrus the Great and prophecies of the end times, join me as we explore the remarkable journey of Iran in the Bible. To understand Iran's biblical origins, we must go back to the story of Noah and his descendants after the Great Flood. According to Genesis 10, Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Japheth, one of these sons, had a descendant named Madai, who later became the ancestor of the Medes. The Medes settled in the region we now know as Iran. Over time, this region became the home of the Persian Empire, which would grow to be one of the most powerful empires in history. The Bible sets the stage for the rise of Persia as an empire through this connection, tracing the people of Iran back to Noah. This ties the Iranian people deeply to the biblical narrative and shows how their history is interwoven with that of Israel and God's chosen people. Several centuries later, Persia becomes a dominant force in world history under the leadership of King Cyrus the Great. The Bible tells us that Persia would not only become a mighty empire, but would also be used by God for an extraordinary purpose. In 586 BC, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon conquered Jerusalem, destroyed the temple, and exiled the Israelites. This was a dark time for God's people, yet God had already planned their redemption. In 539 BC, Cyrus the Great conquered Babylon, marking a turning point in biblical history. The book of Ezra records how Cyrus, a pagan king, issued a decree allowing the Israelites to return to their homeland and rebuild the temple in Jerusalem. This was a fulfillment of the prophet Jeremiah's prediction that the Israelites would be exiled in Babylon for 70 years before returning home. What makes this even more astonishing is that Cyrus had been mentioned by name in prophecy a century earlier by the prophet Isaiah. In Isaiah 44:28, God calls Cyrus his shepherd, chosen to fulfill his purpose. Though Cyrus was a foreign king, God used him to restore his people and rebuild the temple. This event shows how God's sovereignty can work through even those outside his covenant. Persia's involvement in God's plan didn't end with Cyrus. Another remarkable story of Persia's influence is found in the book of Esther. During the reign of King Xerxes I, known in the Bible as Ahasuerus, a plot was devised by Haman, a high-ranking official, to annihilate the Jewish people living in the Persian Empire. But God had placed Esther, a young Jewish woman, in a position of influence as the Queen of Persia. Encouraged by her uncle Mordecai, Esther risked her life to reveal her Jewish identity to the king and pleaded for the survival of her people. In a dramatic reversal, King Xerxes issued a decree allowing the Jews to defend themselves, and Haman was executed for his evil scheme. The story of Esther reminds us how God uses even foreign nations to protect his people. Persia, though a mighty empire, was still an instrument in God's hands to ensure the survival of Israel. This event is still celebrated by Jews today during the festival of Purim, a reminder of God's providence and protection. But Persia's significance doesn't end with the Old Testament. The Bible also places Persia, or modern-day Iran, in the heart of future prophecies. In Ezekiel chapters 38 and 39, the prophet speaks of a future war known as the Battle of Gog and Magog, where Persia is listed as one of the nations that will rise against Israel. Many scholars believe that this prophecy points to future events, highlighting the continued influence of Iran in the region. The Bible shows us that no matter how powerful an empire may be, it is still part of God's divine plan, And the events in the Middle East are not just political, they are also spiritual, woven into the fabric of biblical prophecy. The prophet Daniel also speaks of Persia in his visions of the rise and fall of empires. In Daniel 7, Persia is depicted as one of the great kingdoms that would dominate the world for a time before giving way to the empire of Greece. These prophecies remind us that God is in control of history, using nations and empires to fulfill his purposes. Persia's legacy even stretches into the New Testament. The story of the Magi, or wise men who visited the infant Jesus, is believed by many scholars to be connected to Persia. These wise men were likely Zoroastrian priests, part of an ancient Persian religious tradition that valued astrology and the interpretation of signs. Their journey to honor the newborn king of the Jews further demonstrates Persia's lasting connection to biblical history. It's another reminder that God can use people from all nations to carry out his plan. As we reflect on Persia's role in the Bible, from Noah's descendants to the reign of Cyrus the Great, and even into the prophecies of the end times, it's clear that Iran's story is deeply connected to the story of God's people. Persia was not just a bystander in biblical history, but an active participant in the fulfillment of God's promises. Even today, Iran continues to influence global events, and many believe its role in prophecy is far from over. As we watch events unfold in the Middle East, we must remember that these are part of a much larger story, God's story, and Persia, or Iran, will continue to be a key player in his divine plan. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights into biblical history and prophecy. See you in the next video. Take care. God bless you all.